You didn't click on this video by accident. Something in you has been searching for answers that the world of motivational quotes and positive thinking can't provide. You've been feeling it, haven't you? The weight of carrying questions in a world that rewards easy answers, the exhaustion of pretending that life is fundamentally good when everything you see suggests otherwise. They call you pessimistic when you're simply being honest. They mistake your depth for depression, your clarity for cynicism. But you've never been broken. You've been awake in a world that prefers beautiful lies to difficult truths. There was a philosopher who understood this burden you carry. Arthur Schopenhauer, writing in the 19th century, dared to say what everyone felt but no one wanted to acknowledge: that life is fundamentally suffering, that our desires are traps, and that most of what we call happiness is just the temporary absence of pain. The world called him the most pessimistic philosopher who ever lived. But what if I told you that his so-called pessimism actually holds the key to genuine personal growth? You see, Schopenhauer wasn't trying to make you miserable. He was trying to set you free. Every dark truth he revealed was a door to liberation from the illusions that keep us trapped in cycles of suffering. These aren't theories to depress you. They're tools to awaken you. Let's start with perhaps his most profound insight: the world as will. Schopenhauer realized that beneath all the surface appearances of life, there's this blind, irrational force driving everything, an endless striving, wanting, pushing that never stops. This isn't just philosophy. This is your daily experience. You achieve a goal, and immediately another desire takes its place. You get the job, then you want the promotion. You find love, then you need it to be different. You've been feeling this restless energy your entire life, haven't you? This constant sense that something more is needed, that you're never quite there yet. Understanding this changes everything. When you recognize that this endless wanting isn't a personal failing but the fundamental nature of existence itself, you can finally stop fighting it and start observing it. You can watch your desires arise without being enslaved by them. This is the first step toward real freedom. But Schopenhauer went deeper. He saw that life itself is suffering, not because bad things happen to good people, but because the very structure of existence is built on want, lack, and striving. We oscillate between the pain of wanting something and the boredom of having it. Think about your own experience. How long did your last achievement actually satisfy you? How quickly did that new relationship, that new purchase, that new experience lose its shine? This isn't meant to discourage you. It's meant to liberate you from the exhausting belief that you're supposed to be happy all the time. When you accept that struggle is the default state of existence, you stop taking your difficulties personally. You stop thinking there's something wrong with you when life feels hard. You develop the kind of resilience that comes from realistic expectations. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Schopenhauer realized that what we think of as our individual self, this separate, special person with unique problems, is actually an illusion. We're all manifestations of the same universal will, the same cosmic force expressing itself through billions of apparently separate beings. Your suffering isn't uniquely yours. It's the human condition appearing through your particular nervous system. This recognition transforms how you relate to others. Their anger isn't really directed at you. It's the will expressing its frustration through them. Your own reactivity isn't a personal character flaw. It's the same universal force moving through your form. When you truly understand this, genuine compassion becomes possible, not as a moral obligation, but as a natural recognition of shared reality. But let's talk about desire itself, because this is where most people get trapped. Schopenhauer saw that desire is literally insatiable, not just difficult to satisfy, but impossible to satisfy permanently. Every fulfilled desire immediately creates new desires. You've experienced this, haven't you? The job you thought would make you happy creates new pressures. The relationship you thought would complete you reveals new needs. This isn't failure, it's the nature of desire itself. Understanding this breaks the spell of the hedonic treadmill. You can finally stop chasing satisfaction through external achievements and start finding contentment in the present moment. Not because you've given up on life, but because you've understood how life actually works. Yet Schopenhauer found something beautiful in all this darkness. He discovered that compassion, real compassion, emerges naturally when we recognize that everyone's suffering is essentially our own suffering. The person who cuts you off in traffic, the difficult colleague, the family member who pushes your buttons, they're all expressions of the same will that drives your own frustrations and fears. This isn't about being nice or morally superior. It's about recognizing reality. When you truly see that others' pain is your pain, that their struggles are your struggles wearing different masks, something profound shifts in how you move through the world. You stop taking things so personally because you realize there's no separate person to take them personally. This brings us to perhaps the most challenging insight, that existence itself has no inherent meaning or purpose. We're not here for a reason in the cosmic sense. There's no grand plan, no destiny waiting to unfold, no higher purpose we're meant to discover. The universe is just the will expressing itself blindly, without intention or goal. But here's what Schopenhauer understood that most people miss. This apparent meaninglessness is actually the ultimate freedom. When you're not trying to fulfill some cosmic purpose, you can finally create your own meaning. When you're not waiting for life to make sense, you can make it meaningful through your own choices, through love, through art, through wisdom, through the simple act of reducing suffering wherever you find it. Schopenhauer himself found solace in solitude, and this is another profound teaching. Most people are so afraid of being alone that they'll accept any company, any relationship, any social situation rather than face themselves. But he saw that solitude is where real growth happens. It's where you stop performing for others and start discovering who you actually are beneath all the social masks. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means developing the capacity to be genuinely comfortable with your own company, to enjoy your own thoughts, to find peace in your own presence. When you can do this, you choose relationships from strength rather than neediness, and you attract people who are drawn to your authenticity rather than your performance. But perhaps most importantly, Schopenhauer discovered that we never experience reality directly, only our mental representations of it. Everything you think you know about the world is filtered through your particular nervous system, your conditioning, your emotional state. This means that most of your suffering comes not from what's happening, but from your interpretation of what's happening. This is incredibly liberating. It means you can question every assumption, challenge every interpretation, and recognize that your current way of seeing things is just one possible perspective among many. When someone criticizes you, when a situation doesn't go your way, when life feels overwhelming, you can ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this? What other interpretations are possible? Schopenhauer found temporary escape from all this human drama through art and beauty. He discovered that when we're truly absorbed in aesthetic experience, listening to music, looking at a painting, being present with natural beauty, we momentarily forget our individual will and its endless demands. These moments of transcendence aren't just pleasant distractions. They're glimpses of what consciousness can be when it's not trapped in the cycle of wanting and getting. Finally, Schopenhauer taught about the power of renunciation, not as deprivation, but as the ultimate form of freedom. When you can say no to the will's demands, when you can choose voluntary simplicity over endless accumulation, when you can find satisfaction in what you have rather than what you lack, you discover a kind of power that no external achievement can provide. This is why Schopenhauer's philosophy, dark as it appears, is actually profoundly hopeful. It's not about giving up on life, but about engaging with life as it actually is, rather than as we wish it were. It's about finding peace not through getting what we want, but through understanding the nature of wanting itself. You've been carrying this weight of seeing clearly in a world that prefers comfortable illusions. But what if that clarity, that willingness to look directly at life's difficulties, is actually your greatest strength? What if the very sensitivity that makes you question everything is exactly what the world needs? The choice is yours. You can keep pretending that life should be easier, that you should be happier, that meaning should be given to you from outside. Or you can accept Schopenhauer's invitation to see life clearly, to find freedom through understanding, and to discover that there's a profound beauty in embracing the darkness. The world needs your truth. It always has. And now you have the philosophical tools to carry that truth with wisdom rather than despair.